Hello aspirants, myself Himanshu Dhingra, and I used to take this subject, that is GS Economy. Now in this video I am going to discuss the strategy that is needed for your prelims exam with respect to this subject, that is Indian economy. Now the strategy which I am going to discuss here is for both, you can say fresher or you can say beginners, as well as those who have spent time on this exam, that is 1 or 2 years or more. Now you know one thing, that this exam has much relevance for your UPSC civil, or you can say this subject has much relevance for UPSC civil service exam. Now if you see this GS economy, so here today I am going to talk only about prelims. Okay, so when we talk about prelims, so it is very important to know the approach, that what approach is needed. Now to make a best approach, what is needed, that you have to first identify the topics. So identification of topics is very important. Identification of topic is very important. Number 2, you have to identify the nature of questions. Nature of questions that UPSC is asking with respect to those topics. And number 3, that is needed is source. What source to follow? Now these three are the important things, because after these three things you need nothing. Okay, because if you done these three things, then you know how to score good marks in GS economy. So it is not, this approach is not only for economy only, this approach is for other subjects also. So you have to identify the topic, nature of question that they are asking, and the source. Now to identify the topic, you have only two things with you. One is the UPSC syllabus, and second is the previous year question paper. So here today I am talking only about prelims, and that is with respect to economy subject. So it is, you can apply the same approach to other subjects also. So when I am talking about economy subject here, so first, that for identification of topics you have syllabus with you. So I'll write in short, syllabus with you plus previous year questions. So when I'm talking about previous year questions, so you have to see from 2011 till 2023, that we have a latest paper. Till date. So till date, right now we have this thing. Now if you analyze these things, so why 2011, not beyond that? Because in 2011 UPSC has changed the prelim syllabus. So that is why the reference is 2011 till 2023. So you have a 12 years paper with you. So if I take on an average, if UPSC is asking 10 to 15 questions from Indian economy, so on an average you have a data of, I can say, so if on an average 10 to 15 questions, so we can say on an average you have a data of around 120 to 180 questions. Okay, so you have a data of around 120 to 180 questions. So this is what you have to understand. Now these 120 to 180 questions will help you to identify topics. Although in today's video I am going to tell what those topics are. Okay, so I am basically, what I am doing, I am reducing your burden. Okay, although you can do yourself also, but when you do yourself, it will take a lot of time. Lot of time means it can take 5 hours, 6 hours, even more than that, even 24 hours. Okay, but when I am doing for you here, so I'll tell you within 30-40 minutes. Clear? Because of my vast experience, I can tell you all these things. So in order to identify topics, you will take 24 hours. But when I am telling you, I'll tell you in 30 minutes. Similarly, I'll tell you the nature of questions also, as well as I'll tell you the sources also. That is very much important. Now, if you see the previous year questions, so I told you that these are the two sources, syllabus and previous year question. Although in UPSC prelims, there is one line they have mentioned, economic and social development. That's it. Now, what it includes, that you can infer from the previous year question. So for that, you have a 12-year data. So around 120 to 180 questions. Now, when you analyze these questions, you will definitely find there is some pattern. So when I am saying there is some pattern, means they are asking question on some nature. Clear? So for an aspirant, it looks like that every year UPSC is asking something new. But in reality, they are asking the same thing again and again. Like, I can give you some examples in between. So I'll give you one example before I tell you the topics. Like, if you see, if I talk about digital economy, or you can say cashless transactions or cashless economy. So they have asked multiple questions from that area continuously every year. So every year one question is coming from that. So for example, if I talk about digital economy, or per se my focus is on cashless economy. So like, for example, in 2017, they ask a concept of, or they ask in prelims about merchant discount rate. So you can say easiest question. Then next year, they ask a question on National Payment Corporation of India. Then further, next year they ask a question on UPI. Okay. Then they ask a difficult question. So if you see that, they increase the difficulty level. So whenever UPSC ask any topic, so first they ask easy question, and with time they increase the difficulty level. And finally they ask a question that if suppose there is any digital fraud, means with respect to cash transaction, then which authority has to be reported. So ultimately, directly, indirectly, they ask about, you can say, one concept of Payment and Settlement Act. So it is not like that ki you read only simple things, but you don't go into depth. But it's UPSC. So if they have to ask easy questions, then it is not UPSC. So ultimately they are going into depth. So they want from the aspirant that you must know about this Payment and Settlement Act also. So very few of you know about this Payment and Settlement Act. I know this thing and I am sure about this thing. So those who are seeing this video, so I can say with surety only 5% of the students know about Payment and Settlement Act. So this is very important. You must know about this thing. So first of all, you have to remove the myth that you have kept in your mind that easy or simple questions will come in UPSC. So normally I have seen either there are two types of students. One, those who are having fear with this subject, and other, they are having overconfidence with this subject. And for both the type of student, you can say they are not able to score marks. See, UPSC is an exam where you need to score 50% marks. Either it is prelim stage, main stage, or interview stage. Because if you are scoring 50% marks, you will be a topper. Topper means topper. So earlier, you can say in your school or college days, when you get 50% marks, the same society see you with different perception. But if you get 50% marks in UPSC, the same society will see you with different perception. Okay, so it is about, so what is the concept I want to tell you? It is your perception that how you see this subject. Not only this subject, but all the subjects in UPSC. Clear? So this is what you can see, that they catch one topic, digital economy. So you know that demonetization, immediately after demonetization, so you know demonetization was, or you can say happened in 2016. So after 2016, they continuously ask question from digital economy. So you can go and check the previous year paper. So when I am saying this with surety, so I am saying because of you can say, if you analyze the past year trend, so it is very easy to crack the code. Nowadays, if I talk about these days also, these days means if you see from last 2-3 years, they are asking question from capital market and money market. So there is some logic why they are asking. Okay, so in economy, it is very easy to understand or to crack the exam pattern with respect to this subject. Even with respect to others also, I am not saying that you can understand 100 questions. Okay, so if 10 or 20 questions are coming from economy, so at least you can understand that these 60 questions or 60% of the questions will come. So if suppose 10 questions are coming, so before appearing this exam, out of 10 you can easily predict 6 questions, although 4 questions that UPSC knows. So I am not saying that all the questions you can predict, but at least 6 questions you can predict if you study with proper or in a proper manner. So it is not like that ki under the sun you are studying everything, because in this exam it is very important to know what to study and what not to study. So what not to study is also important. Okay, so I'll tell you. So now I am going to tell you the list. Now if I talk about topics, so there is topic like growth. So in growth topic, UPSC used to ask about basics like what is GDP, what are the exceptions in GDP, what are the limitations in GDP. So these things you must know. Similarly, GNP, that is gross national product. Similarly, concept of depreciation, concept of real GDP and nominal GDP. How real GDP is different from nominal GDP. Okay, concept of factor cost, concept of market price, relationship between factor cost and market price. So those who are listening, please make a note of that. Okay, so when you start studying these things and see the previous year questions also, they have continuously asked question from these. Clear? Similarly, they used to ask about GVA, a new concept, gross value added. Clear? So this is what you must know. So GVA is calculated on the basis of basic prices. So what is this basic price? So these things you must know. These things you must know. Similarly, although I am talking here about only prelims, even if I talk about mains also, in mains, UPSC is asking practical questions. How to increase GDP of a country. So when they are asking GDP, they are asking about real GDP or nominal GDP. So when you know the difference between real and nominal, then only you can answer it. Otherwise, you will write ABC, whatever you know. Okay. So ultimately, you know this thing. Ki we want to increase our growth rate as per nominal or real. And if we are increasing as per real, what does it mean? And if we are increasing as per nominal, what does it mean? So these things you must know. Clear? So this is what growth chapter is important. So every year you will find one question. Every year you will find at least one question. Now you will say that, sir, for one question I will study so much. So see, 100 questions are asked in UPSC prelims. So 100 questions, you see those 100 questions as 100 topics. So from every topic, so in UPSC you have to study, for example, 5,000-6,000 topics. Okay. So after 5,000-6,000 topics, you will able to solve those, you can say able to understand those 60-70 questions. Okay. So ultimately when you study 5,000 to 6,000 topics, so this 5,000 to 6,000 topics I am talking about, with respect to all the subjects, then only you are able to solve 60 to 70 questions. There is no person who has said that ki sir, I have solved 100 questions and my whole 100 questions are correct. So this is the toughest exam. If you see CAT exam, their students are scoring 100 percentile. But in UPSC, you will not find any student who will score, you can say, out of 200 marks. In prelims I am talking about. So if that is a thing, then your cutoff will be, you can say, around 150, 160, 170. But right now the cutoff is around 90 marks. So you can understand that to crack UPSC, you have to first identify the topics. So there are total 5,000 to 6,000 topics that you have to study for all the subjects, means cumulatively for all subjects, and then only you are able to solve 60 to 70 questions. And in that also you will commit mistakes. Then only you will get 50% marks. So you can say around 100, 110 marks. So this is what you have to understood. Clear? So my purpose is to crack this exam. So I'll gather that knowledge which will help me to crack this exam. So my purpose is not to become a book collector कि भाई बनने तो चला था डिस्ट्रिक्ट कलेक्टर बट इतनी सारी किताबें खरीद ली मैंने. Okay, so my purpose is not to become, you can say, book collector. My purpose is to become district collector, and for that I have to first identify from which areas UPSC is asking questions. So this is what you have to become, a knowledge collector, and that knowledge which will help you to crack this exam. Otherwise choice is yours. You want to study big books, you can study. Clear? So I believe in minimum pain, maximum gain. Means less study and score more. So this is my ultimate aim. So I want that you should also keep this aim. Clear? So you have to study 5,000 to 6,000 topics. Now you do one thing, those who are appearing for next year, or you can say after 2 year or 3 year, so you have enough time. Make a list that today I have studied this topic. For example, three topics. So if suppose you have studied 3 topics per day, so it means in 30 days, you will study around 90 topics. You will study around 90 topics. Okay. So for example, those who are appearing for after 2 years or 3 years, they have enough time. But those who are appearing next year, they have to increase the number of topics. So it means they have to, on an average, daily study 7 to 8 topics. Then only they can cover these 5,000 to 6,000 topics. But in economy, you have to study around 800 topics. Then only you are able to solve 60 to 70% of the questions of economy. That is for sure. If someone is saying you that after reading this you can get 100 questions correct, means all the questions of economy, okay, then you have to be aware of that. Clear? Then you have to be aware of that. Okay. So there is no one or no person can say that 100% is like this only. Clear? So this is what you have to understand. So growth. So in growth you have to study some important subtopics which I have told you. So those you must know. So this is what you can say basic topics, because if you have understanding of basic, then only you can go for advanced. Okay. Second, inflation. Now in inflation, you must know the meaning of inflation. Now here I can challenge you that what you know the meaning, you do one thing, that go on YouTube channel of StudyIQ, that is StudyIQ IAS English. There you see the meaning of inflation which I have covered. But before seeing that video, first write on paper what do you mean by inflation, and then you see my video and then again write. So it means concept has been given to you there. So first do that thing. So it's a challenge. So you can go and do thing. So if I give you a question, what do you mean by inflation? You'll write 2, 3 or 4 lines, that's it. But after seeing my video, you will write at least 10 lines. You can go and check. Clear? So inflation. So you must know meaning, reason for inflation, solution for inflation. Now, being an IAS officer, your duty is not to identify the problems. So problem identification is done by a journalist. They are doing their job. Your duty is to find a solution for that. This is what you will learn in ethics also. That is why case studies are there. So your duty is to find solution. Your duty is not to find problems only. So your duty is to find problem and solution both. So tomorrow you become a district collector, and if suppose I come to you with some problem, so it is not like that you offer me tea and samosa and then say, okay, we'll see. It's not like that. I am here only for solution. I am not here for tea and samosa. Yes or no? So you need to find a solution also. So if my economy is having inflation, so what can I do to control that inflation? So this is the thing. Even if you see the recent newspaper, the current RBI governor, that is Mr. Das, has mentioned in news, or you can say in current affair or in newspaper, that we will bring inflation to 4%. So it means it is the task of RBI to bring it to 4%. So it means they are looking for solution. So this is what you have to understood. So inflation. Okay. Similarly, you must know the types of inflation also. Impact of inflation also. So these are the subtopics that you have to study. So when I am saying that you have to study around 700 topics, so I am talking about subtopics also. Okay. So although broadly there are 11-12 themes in your economy, but within those themes you have to study certain subtopics. So if you calculate those subtopics, it comes out to be around 700-800 topics. So that you have to study. Clear? Now, although these 700-800 when you will study, so you will find one thing, that it will help you in mains also. Because if your base part is strong, mains will automatically be strong. Clear? Third, you have to talk about monetary policy. Now, you know what is the meaning of monetary policy. Now, very important topic of that is qualitative and quantitative tools. Now, here I know that those who are beginners also or freshers also, they know these tools, or you can say they have heard about these tools, although they don't have understanding, but they know or they have heard the terms qualitative and quantitative tools. Like for example, repo rate, quantitative tool, reverse repo rate, okay, bank rate. So these are quantitative tools. Now, if you analyze the previous year question, every year they are asking question from qualitative and quantitative tools. So you can say tools of monetary policy. So it means that area should be strong. Now, if you further analyze the previous year question, you will find that they are asking certain types of question. Like either they will give you a question like this, which of the following is or are tools of monetary policy, and some items. So you can say if you know the list, you don't know what they are. If you know the list, you can easily handle it. Secondly, if I talk about second type of question that they are asking from this tool is, you must know the features of these tools. Means what is bank rate? In bank rate there is a mortgage or not? Okay. So these things you must know. Why bank rate is called as penal rate? Okay. So these are the things. These are the things that you must know. Clear? Similarly, third type of question that they are asking is application of these tools. So you can say, I gave you a, you can say solution, that when you are studying tools of monetary policy, so three types of question can be framed. Number one, list. So you must know what qualitative and quantitative tools include. So if you know that thing, your one type of question gets solved. Second type that you need is the features of these tools. So question can be framed on that. And third, application. Like if repo rate is increased, what will happen on money supply? Or what will be the impact on liquidity? So these are the things that you must know. Clear? So this is what in monetary policy you have to study tools. Why there is a failure of monetary policy? Monetary policy committee per se. So you will find that they have asked a question on monetary policy committee also, either in 2016 or 17. I think in 2016 you can see. So there are 6 members. So you must know that thing. plus other features of Monetary Policy Committee also. Apart from that, you must also know the measurement of money supply. So you must know M1, M2, M3, M4, M0. Okay. So these are the things that you must know in monetary policy. Next, you must know about banking. Now this banking is very important. In banking also, UPSC used to ask a question. So whatever topics I am writing in some order. Now the purpose to write this in order that you have to prepare in this way, because every year you will find at least one question. Okay, at least one question from these topics. So I am telling you the broad themes. So within these broad themes, there are subtopics also. So that is important that you first know what are the broad themes. Now in banking, you know that there is scheduled commercial bank, there is small finance bank, payment bank, mudra bank. So if you see the previous year question, they have asked a question on small finance bank, payment bank. So this is what you must know. Similarly, why we need such banks? So you must know when we have scheduled commercial bank, why we need it. Similarly, they have asked question on RRBs, business correspondent, nowadays in news. Similarly, they ask a question on priority sector lending. So the number of sectors under priority sector lending. Committees related to banking sector. Concept of Basel norms, non-performing assets. So these are the things that you must know. Now, practically they can ask you a question in mains also, that what can be done to reduce NPA. So everyone knows that ki NPA is there. But ultimately, kare kya? What is the solution? So abhi few minutes back I told you that as a bureaucrat, it is your responsibility to come out with solution. अब आप ये बोलो कि सर लोन ही नहीं देंगे, लोन नहीं दोगे तो भी that is also not good. Why? Because if you will not give loans, then ultimately economy will not grow. Plus whatever deposits available with the banks used to you can say earn from that only. So if they are not giving their deposits as a loan, तो बैंक भी कमाएगा नहीं. तो क्या करें? So we need to find a solution that NPA हो ही ना. Okay, NPA हो ही ना. So we need a solution for that. So this is what you have to understand. Similarly, you study about insolvency and bankruptcy code also. So right now, if you are reading a newspaper, so I hope everyone has enjoyed Rasna. So right now, Rasna is in news. Why? Because one company has filed under NCLT. So it's a last week news. So one company has filed under NCLT for the IBC of Rasna. So ultimately, these things you must know. Okay, what are the conditions that IBC for a company can be initiated? What is the procedure? So if you know these things, then only you can answer the things. Clear? Your basic should be strong. And when I'm saying basic, it is not like that you start making notes. Notes, whatever you write in notes, it should be here. Okay, it should be here. So initially your notes are bulky when you start your preparation, but with time it should reduce. It means it will reduce only when things will be there. Because at the end of the day, you will go to exam with your brain only. You will not take any notes with you. So in that 2 hours in the examination hall, your brain will be there with you in prelims. Clear? So your notes will not be there. Okay. Or even if you are seeing my lecture also, that will also be not there. So mobile phone is not allowed. Clear? So this is what banking. Now, apart from that, you must know about other financial sectors like capital market and money market. Capital market and money market. Now, when I am talking about capital market and money market, so here I am talking about SEBI. that is Securities and Exchange Board of India. Okay, so when I am talking about this thing, so right now if you are reading newspaper, so you know that whenever you trade on any stock market or exchange, so it has to be settled in some time period. So like for example, earlier it was T plus 2. Now we bring it to T plus 1 and now we are bringing it to 1 hour. So ultimately you must know the impact, that if we bring it to 1 hour, what impact it has. Now question will be framed on this. Then you say, sir, I have not studied it. So you have to increase your thinking level also. So capital market, similarly money market. Okay, so in money market you will study about treasury bills, you will study about call money, notice money. So these are the tools. So you have to study all these things. Clear? Next, if you see, apart from these topics, then you have to study fiscal policy. Now fiscal policy, again, if I ask you the meaning, you again get confused. Do one thing, if your base part is strong, your every part is strong. Now for fiscal policy, do one thing, that you again check my video on StudyIQ English channel. So just type StudyIQ on YouTube, just type StudyIQ IAS English. So you will get my video or playlist. So there you can see the meaning of fiscal policy. But before seeing my videos, you just try to write yourself. So I can say you with one surety that before seeing my video, whatever topic you have studied from any source, you study and write, try to write, make your notes, and then see my video and then make a note. You will see a great change. And now this is the role of IAS officer. The role of IAS officer is to bring change in economy or change in the life of people. Okay, so if I am able to bring a change in your strategy or approach for this subject, then my work is done. Okay, so ultimately that change comes either through me or through any other. But change is very important. Clear? So this is what you have to understand. Now the ultimate purpose is that you clear this exam. Either by reading any source, by listening any lecture. Okay, the ultimate purpose is to clear this exam. So I'll again say that you don't have to become a book collector. You have to only become a knowledge collector, and that knowledge which will help you to crack this exam. So it is very important to identify. It is very important to identify what to study and what not to study. Means where to emphasize and where not to emphasize. Now, even also where to emphasize, it is very important to what extent we have to emphasize. Means up to what depth we have to go. Some topics, if you have superficial knowledge, fine. But for some topics, you have to go in depth. So this is also you have to identify. Clear? So fiscal policy. So in fiscal policy, you must know the component of budgets. That is what is expenditure, what is receipt part. So these things you must know. Clear? You must know the deficits. Now again, you know that ki deficit, fiscal deficit is a main concern for my economy. Now what government is doing to reduce that deficit? So that becomes again important. Clear? Next. Balance of payment. In short, we call it BOP. Here you have to study current account, capital account, concept of exchange rate, forex reserve, convertibility. So these are the things that you have to study. Even once you have this clarity, then you can understand in advance that how we can go for internationalization of rupee. So without basics, you cannot go for, you can say understand advance, means your mains, you can say mains concept. Now, if suppose just I give you another example, you don't know what is repo rate, and then you are reading in newspaper the news of repo rate. I am 100% sure you will not understand anything. Similarly, you don't know what is FD. And then you are reading the news of FD. That is fiscal deficit. Again, you will not understand. So ultimately, to read newspaper, you must know at least some knowledge, which is relevant for your exam. Clear? Similarly, you don't know what is real GDP and nominal GDP, and then you are reading newspaper. Sometimes student used to ask me, sir, how to read newspaper? अरे भाई read करना तो आसान है, खोल के पढ़ना ही तो है. But पढ़ना एक अलग चीज है, उसको समझना एक अलग चीज है. ओके, पढ़ना कैसे है, कोई बुक कैसे पढ़नी है, जब तक आप उसका कॉन्सेप्ट नहीं निकालोगे, you cannot. So here you have to focus on quality, and quality will be there when you emphasize on understanding the concept. So it is not like that कि if I am reading economy from any source, so today I read 50 pages, but after reading 50 pages I ask you a question, you said, sir, I don't know. Then it is of no use. Then it is of no use. So you need quality. So after reading 50 page, what understanding you develop, either it is economy or any subject, that is important. That is important. Clear? So balance of payment. Clear? So balance of payment. So if you see whatever topics I have written, so total 7 topics, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6, 7. So from these 7 topics, whatever number of questions are coming in UPSC, so around 50% questions will come from this. So if suppose 15 questions are coming in any year, because number of questions are not fixed, sometime it is 10, means minimum 10, maximum 23, 24. Okay, or in between. Clear? So if suppose 15 questions are coming, so around 7 to 8 questions will come from this topic, these 7 topics. Okay, 7 to 8 questions will come from these 7 topics. So ultimately, when I am preparing for prelims, these topics should be strong. These topics should be strong. So this is what you have to remember. Now, apart from this, there are other topics also. Sectors of economy. Now, in sectors of economy, the focus is on 2 things. Number 1, industry, and number 2, agriculture. So here we have to focus on these 2 things. Clear? Industry and agriculture. Clear? So whatever schemes are there with respect to industry and agriculture, you must know for your exam. Like MSME. Now you know that to promote MSME, government put lot of schemes. So you must know those schemes. Similarly, agriculture. Now, one of the main thing that government right now is emphasizing is on the income of the farmer. Have you think about that what is the income of the farmer? Average income. So although in India some farmers are rich, in some portion the farmers are rich, and in some portion the farmers are poor. So that is why I am talking about average. So when you search, you will find that average income of the farmer is very less. So the problem starts from there itself. So that is why Government of India framed or formed or constituted one committee that is headed by Mr. Ashok Dalwai. The task has been given that how to double the income of the farmer. So that is why frequently you find in newspaper doubling the farmer income. Okay, so this is what you have to understand. So current government has focused on increasing the income. So again, identifying the right problem is also the main thing. So if you see before 2014-15, government talk about agriculture, but in terms of agriculture, they only focus on increasing the production from the agriculture. But this current government focus on production as well as income. That is why they have changed the name of the ministry, and the new name is Ministry of Agriculture and Farmer Welfare. So earlier the word farmer welfare was not there. The one who is doing agriculture, that was missing. Okay, so this is what you have to remember. So you have to see what schemes are there, how we are increasing the income of farmer, like PM Kisan. So if you see the objective, so it is going to support the additional income for the farmer. This is what you have to remember. Clear? Next, apart from this, what topics that you have to focus is now poverty, hunger, which is part of this, unemployment, and planning. Now here I can say you with surety, if you see a questions from 2011 to 23, so you will find very less question from these areas, very less. So here I can say with surety that if you study less these topics also, that is enough. Okay, because chances of asking question from this area is very less. So I give you one task, those who are seeing my video, that you do one thing, that you just check that how many questions has been asked from poverty, unemployment and planning in this time period. So if you find it, just put in a comment section that sir, so and so question has been asked from this. Whereas with respect to these questions, these topics, growth, inflation, monetary policy, growth, banking and capital and money market, as well as fiscal policy, you just go and check how many questions has been asked. So automatically you will understand that what I am telling. So you will understand the relevance of this video. Clear? Clear? So this is what you have to remember. Now there is another topic, so which I'll say that very, very important. That is International Economic Organization. Now this topic is also important. Okay, so I'll say very, very important. So when I'm saying very, very important, from this there are two organizations which are very important, although there are so many economic organizations, WTO and IMF. World Bank used to be an important topic, but nowadays focus is less on World Bank, but on WTO and IMF, they have huge focus, or you can say you will find so many questions from this area. Like if I talk about IMF, so if you check last 2-3 year paper, every year they have asked question from IMF, at least one question. Okay, so this is what very, very important. So these are the broad 10 themes that you have to prepare. Okay, that you have to prepare. Clear? So in this video, I am talking only about the topics, whereas in future I'll make a video where I'll talk about the nature of questions and the sources that you have to refer. So you can say stay connected with me. So if you have any query, if you want to ask about any approach with respect to economy, so you can contact me on my Insta page. Okay, economy_Himanshu. So you can contact me there, and if need be, I can give you my contact number there also. Clear? There also. But my main motive is that you clear this exam, and you clear this exam in less time. Okay, less time means with the preparation of 8-9 months, 10 months or maximum 1 year, you get a rank in this exam. But for that, again in last I'll say you that don't become book collector, or you can say extra knowledge collector. Become knowledge collector, but only that knowledge which is relevant to crack this exam. So I hope you find this session helpful, and it will help you to change your strategy with respect to this subject, and if need be you can message me on my Instagram page, so I'll reply you within 24 hours. So we'll meet soon. Jai Hind and have a nice day.